Hello everyone, welcome back to RecentJobs.
If you are preparing for placements, off campus interviews, or your first software job, you have probably heard this advice many times. Learn SQL. It is one of the most important skills for interviews. But when you actually decide to learn SQL, a lot of questions comes to mind. Where do I start? Do I need to memorize 100 of queries? How much SQL is actually asked in interviews? If you have ever had these questions, don't worry, you are in the right place. That's exactly why I created this SQL interview series. In this series, you will learn SQL from scratch, and along the way, I will share industry level concepts, real world use cases, interview patterns, and practical problem solving techniques based on my experience working in the software industry. Instead of simply explaining SQL syntax, I will show you why we use each concept and when to use it and how to solve real interview questions step by step. Whether you are a beginner or preparing for your next interview, this series will help you master SQL concepts and solve real questions with confidence. So let's start this journey together and learn SQL the way software engineers actually use it. So what makes this series different? Most SQL tutorials teach only the syntax. They explain commands like select, where, and join. But interviews don't ask what does select do. Instead, they ask you to solve real problems like find the second highest salary, identify duplicate records, find the customer with the most orders. That's where many beginners struggle. This is an SQL interview series designed to prepare you for real technical interviews and real software development. In every episode, we'll first understand the problem, discuss the thought process behind the solution, and then write SQL step by step. Instead of memorizing queries, you will learn how experienced software engineers approaches problems. You will understand not only what to write, but also why you are writing it. What you will learn. This series is designed to take you from beginner to interview ready. We will start with the fundamentals where you will learn how to search, filter, and sort data efficiently. Then we'll move on to working with multiple tables using joins along with aggregate functions and group by to analyze data effectively. As you progress, you will learn advanced topics like subqueries and Windows functions, which are among the most frequently asked concepts in SQL interviews. We will also cover query optimization and understand how SQL is used to analyze large amount of data in real software companies. And most importantly, this series isn't about memorizing SQL queries, it's about understanding the logic behind them so you can confidently solve SQL interview questions on your own. So next, you will use SQL too. Before we start learning SQL syntax, let me answer one important question. Why do software engineers spend time learning in SQL? Is it only for interviews? Absolutely not. In fact, companies use SQL every single day to build products, solve customer issues, analyze data, and make business decisions. Let's see where SQL is actually used. Coming to find production issues, let's say a customer says, I placed an order, but I can't see it. Instead of checking every screen in the application, engineers simply write an SQL query to check the database. Within seconds, they can find out exactly what went wrong. So coming to fetch customer information, now it's not and always about fixing issues. Sometimes we just need customer information. For example, if a customer updates their mobile number or asks about their recent orders, SQL helps us to retrieve that information directly from the database. SQL used in generating reports. But SQL isn't just used for individual customers. Companies also need reports every day like total sales, monthly revenue, or number of active users. These reports help business understand how they are performing. Coming to analyze user behavior, companies like Amazon, Netflix, Flipkart, and Swiggy analyze how users interact with their applications. Questions like which products are selling the most, which feature is used the most, why are users leaving the application. These all answers comes from SQL. Build dashboards. Now imagine showing all this information in charts instead of tables. That's exactly what dashboard do. Tools like Power BI and Tableau use SQL queries in the background to display real-time business insights. Of course, before showing data on the dashboard, we need to make sure that data itself is correct. Validate application data. As developers or testers, we also need to verify whether the application is storing data correctly. Even if the application says registration successful, SQL helps us confirm that the data is actually saved in the database. So we'll use SQL in debug backend APIs. Sometimes the problem isn't in the database, it's in APIs. If an API returns incorrect data, SQL helps us verify whether the database contains the correct records. This makes debugging much faster. Coming to support business decisions, finally, SQL isn't just for developers. Business team also depend on it to answer questions like which product is selling the most or which city generates the highest revenue. These insights help companies make better decisions. So, as a software developer, you will use SQL to find production issues, fetch customer data, generate reports, analyze user behavior, build dashboards, validate applications data, and even debug backend APIs. That's exactly how we will learn SQL in this series. Every concept will be connected to a real world scenario, so you will understand not just how to write a query, but why you are writing it and where it is used in actual projects. So every episode in this series follows the same simple roadmap. By the end of each episode, you will not only know the SQL syntax but also understand how to apply it in real interviews and real projects. So we will always begin with a real world scenario or an interview question. Before writing any SQL, we'll first understand the problem we are trying to solve because in the industry, understanding the problem is half the solution. Once the problem is clear, we will learn the SQL concept needed to solve it. Then I will explain not just the syntax, but also why we use it, when to use it, and how it works behind the scenes. Then I will share interview insights, common mistakes candidates make, how interviews think, and simple tips that can help you answer confidently. Finally, I will give you a small challenge. Pause the video, try solving it yourself, and then compare your approach with mine. That's the fastest way to improve your SQL skills. So, this isn't just a series where you watch and forget. It's a series where you think, practice, and grow. If you follow this roadmap in every episode, you will gradually build the confidence to solve SQL problems on your own. And that's it for this introduction. I hope you now have a clear idea of what this SQL interview series is all about. Starting from the next episode, we'll begin learning SQL step by step with practical examples and real interview questions. If you have any questions or suggestions, feel free to leave them in the comments below.
If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Looking for more resources? Check out our channel for videos on technical, HR, and coding round preparations, especially designed for freshers. You will also find links to additional content in description below. Thanks for tuning in. Good luck with your interview journey. Stay confident, stay prepared, and you are sure to succeed. See you in the next video. Until then, take care.